Total CEOs
I
is
just have
tagged
to
with
tell
from the
my
cargo X
laptop
to the
to
Persian
let me
Gulf.
watch it. All right. Okay, so we've set up very simply a reverse continue and a magnet. And we'll put our chart trader on the account we want to be trading on, which is account number 40. On the MNQ, we'll do a similar thing. We'll put a quick magnet on. MNQ, we'll do high of day, low of day for the moment. We'll put a couple of contracts, just one position. We're going to make things a little bit easy this morning. But we use big targets on the MNQ because it's only 50 cents a tick. So we'll use a 100 tick target. Our default target is 3 ticks before, above or below the magnet. And let's see if we can get away on the MNQ. We'll label it MNQ magnet. And let me just see what account I want to trade my micro MNQ in this morning. Let's see if we can get away with account. Last night we used account number 29. Let's try and use that account. We should have no problem using. No, I don't want to use 29. It's got a profit in it. We'll use number 41. Okay, so we'll use 40 and 41 this morning to start. So our MNQ will right click the chart, highlight the trade setup we just started to set up, and we'll put the account number 41. Apply it, and now we're going to add our reverse continue. We'll click News Trader, change the breakout to a reverse continue, and a couple of contracts, a target of 100 with a stop of 100. Remember, reverse continue is a safe scalp. Safe because it has a target and a stop. We'll label it MNQ, reverse continue. And it's in account number 40. That's our MNQ account for the morning. And when we turn on a magnet, we get our control panel and we get our orders. We can adjust our orders because we can move them. So my long is going to be above 310. My short's going to be below 200. Yep, it's going to be below 200 on the short. But I'm just watching. My trade is not actually live, the magnet entry, unless I press the magnet button and make it automated. And then make sure you're on the right trading account on your chart trader. And then turn on your reverse continue also. So I've got MNQ reverse continue turned on and a magnet. But really we're just watching this news. That's the big thing we're doing this morning. I'm watching the news. Do I want to set up a breakout trade? I could. If I were going to do it, I'd probably put it on the MNQ. So we could, for fun, set up a 2-contract breakout on the MNQ, a spike trade. See if there's a burst on the news. Keeping in mind that it's strictly a test. It's not vetted. It could work. It might not work. It's just to see if this report is viable as a spike. It's really a test. It's not recommended for people that don't want to take extra risk, but we know from experience The MNQ does like moving on market news. This is market news that could move it. So if I were going to do a test, I would click News Trader. We have a breakout. We know the event is at 8:30. So I would put my orders on the chart, 8:29:58, 2 seconds before the news. I would try to see if we could get away with a 35 bracket. I'd use a stop of 75. Remember, it's MNQ. It's only 50 cents a stop. And then we've got targets. So we don't think it's going to be a giant mover. So I would look maybe for 20 ticks on my first target, 50 ticks on my second target. And if my first target gets hit, we have a feature target one stop move. What I might do is move my stop automatically to break even to protect some profit. Now, I set the time to 0. Why? Because I want to look at the bracket in the current market conditions to get an idea how wide the bracket is for trade management. But don't forget, you still have to label the trade, MNQ breakout, BRK. And right now we'll leave it on Sim. And we'll put our charts on Sim. And we'll spread the chart to see the breakout, the width of the bracket. Turn on the bracket by enabling a trade with 0 time. And it's plenty big bracket. Maybe we can get away with 30 this morning based on the current volatility. We can get rid of this horizontal line also. Our software puts that on. It has a purpose. If we highlight the magnet, sorry, I mean the breakout. Highlight the breakout. I am going to try for a 30 bracket and go to optional and uncheck show the vertical line. Apply it, okay it. We're still on Sim. Try the bracket one more time by turning on a 0 time trade. And there we go. We have brackets.
10 minutes ago now,
Might be 35
goods data for
is
March.
better.
Forecast 0.5% prior.
I like the 35 better, just on
US
price
housing
movement.
starts forecast 1.38 million prior 1.487 million. Core durable goods forecast 0.4%.
And then we
prior
put our
0.9%.
time back
US building permits
to
forecast
8:29:58.
1.386 million.
All right.
US wholesale
And
inventory
all of our MNQ trades we said are going to be in number 40. This will be a real prop account trade. It will trigger on its own.
US housing starts change month to month. Forecast minus
There's not a lot of time to cancel it.
7.2%.
All right.
US building permits change month to month. Forecast
and we want to make sure our chart trader is on the right account. Number 40.
And US advanced goods trade balance forecast minus 88 billion.
41 is our MNQs.
Minus 98.53 billion.
Let me make sure I did everything right. So look, my brain is half asleep still. So let's go back to our MNQs and put them on all MNQs 41 account. So let's go and highlight our strategies. Start with the magnet, and we'll go down to the software chart account, and it is on 41. We'll check the reverse continue. That was on 40. We'll put that on 41. If you're on the wrong account on your chart trader, you won't see your orders. Your chart trader, that has nothing to do with our software. It's the way Ninja Trader works. You have to be on the right account for the right chart. Now we can OK our setups. Everything should be on the right chart and the right account. MNQ is 41. So make sure you're on 41. And now we can turn our trades on. I'll turn on our breakout first, then our magnet, then our reverse continue. Now on gold, we have to turn on our gold magnet. We never did it.
White House official says Trump
Get our
met energy
clock out of the
company
way.
executives Tuesday and
All
discussed
right.
domestic production in Venezuela, oil
And we can
futures, natural
adjust our
gas, and
magnet
shipping.
orders if we want to. Okay. We can adjust our orders. The magnet is 46.24.10. It's 3 ticks before the actual high. We consider a test plus or minus 3 ticks away from the magnet. What's a magnet? A magnet's an area on chart that attracts price, that tests price over and over and over during the week, during the day, all the time. Areas get tested. Something must have just happened
According to
in the
state-run
world.
TV, Press TV says Iran has warned of unprecedented military action against continued U.S. seizure of Iran-linked vessels. It's
Hang
again,
on, folks.
Press
This is
TV
something we're
citing senior
dealing with
Iranian security
constantly.
source.
It was just Iran warns of unprecedented military action over ongoing U.S. seizures of Iran-linked ships. So this is an issue we're constantly dealing with. Extra risk created by commentary, world commentary by the various governments. It's one reason why magnets are safer in these war-torn kind of markets. Because a magnet, we're waiting for price to come to us. If we would have had a magnet trade on automatic, magnet trades can be discretionary or automatic. When they're discretionary, you get an audio alert when it hits a magnet area. A magnet area, if you look at the gold chart, are these heavy lines. That's our order. When price hits that area, the magnet entry button blinks purple. If you then press the button, it puts you in the trade. Remember, we set up the trade. I chose the number of contracts, I chose the target, I chose the stop. That was done inside of the magnet software. I'll show you. So inside the magnet software, there are a variety of different setups you can set up. High of day, low of day. We had two contracts, one position. And our target is default, -3. That means what I said before, plus or minus 3 ticks before it gets to the magnet. We have a stop of 45
5
ticks.
minutes ago now to get the US durable goods orders for the month of March. Forecast 0.5% prior, -1.3%.
All right.
US housing
Those
starts
kinds
forecast
of
1.38
bursts
million
and
prior
pops,
1.48 million.
they can put you
Core
in a
durable goods
trade when you
forecast
don't want to be put in a
0.4% prior
trade.
0.9%.
So
Building
for
permits
your
forecast
discretionary
1.39 million prior
trades,
1.386
you
million.
don't want to
Wholesale
turn them
inventories
on
month advance
unless
forecast
you're ready to
0.4%
be
prior
pulled into the
0.2%.
market at a
Retail
moment's
sales,
notice. In
retail
other words,
inventories excluding
if I
close
put my
advance
gold
prior
magnet
0.4%.
on
Housing starts
automatic,
change month to month forecast
then I have to be
-0.3% prior
prepared
0.2%.
to enter a
Builder surveys
trade
change month to
on a
month
news
forecast
tweet.
-0.3%
All right.
prior -4%.
Now, generally with a magnet,
And US advanced goods trade balance forecast -88 billion
I'm
prior
willing to go in
-38.93
that
billion.
direction. But let's be honest, a news tweet can ruin a trade. Okay? It can ruin a trade because look what happened. This was a pretty big burst. It could have filled us, not hit the magnet target, and then it does that huge reversal. That would be a stop. So right now my magnet is not automated. It's just white. The magnet entry button is white. If I make it purple, then my magnet trade, and it says auto mode, by clicking it, then my magnet trade is automatic. Now, on the MNQ, we're waiting for our breakout. So that's the trade we're going to manage. We're going to manage our breakout trade, our spike trade. Gold, I'm really waiting. Now, gold is interesting. I'm kind of willing to take a gold short to test the low for a couple of reasons. Gold is very negative. You always want to check your longer term chart for a true look at the instrument. Gold is very negative, okay? That's a 15-minute chart. There's no way anybody would be thinking right now that gold is bullish on a day trading chart. We're not talking, a daily chart. We're talking right now. All right. Gold is bearish. So I would allow my gold magnet to fill short. I personally prefer to wait until news is over. I don't trade magnets like a breakout. That's not why we invented the magnet software. I have a real mouse problem. I have a broken mouse. I find I've changed the batteries. I've done everything to it. It's just not working properly. That could be a problem. I need to change it. All right. Long story short, so we have a breakout trade that's going to take place on the MNQ. Strictly just a test that we're doing. It's not normally if I was in my office and we didn't have a trade room for this event, I would not be trading this event. I would just be watching it. I would put magnets up on my charts, but I would honestly just be watching. And it's because there's not a consistent setup, because these reports don't trade the same way every month. They don't always trade together. They often trade with different events. So when you have events that are by their nature inconsistent, we don't have a simple setup. And that's okay. Every event isn't going to have a perfect setup. There's many events that we don't trade. But you can always look for magnets. We can always do a test of the VWAP if we want, right? That's actually an interesting test. We're close enough to the VWAP to make that a test. But I set up a breakout. Let's watch the breakout because that's our only automatic trade. We have an automatic breakout set up for 8:30. 8:29:58. We're going to see orders on the chart. Now, you've got this pretty
10 seconds.
Strong downward movement. In the old days, that's enough movement that we might have said, maybe don't trade this report.
Order submitted.
There's our brackets. The news comes out.
0.8%.
The news is out.
Higher than forecast of 0.5%.
It's slightly better than expected on durable goods. Housing starts, building permits are kind of mixed. I'm not seeing a big burst. So it fills short, hits the first target,
order filled,
and you have a small profit. Remember, we're just trading micros. So I'm not looking for big money, just looking for a test of an MNQ breakout. Now remember, I said I would let gold test the low if it wants to. Now the news is over. Gold looks like it wants to test that low. I will let it try and do that if it decides to continue. Even the MNQ looks like it wants to test its low here. It's not a full day low, because the MNQ is actually bullish on the day. On gold, you have to put your stop at least above that candle down. Ideally, I would want my stop. I'd want a much bigger stop on micro gold because I'd want to be above all the structure. But we have so much going on this morning that I'm going to just use smaller stops. I would let the MNQ try to fill this short here just because of the price action and the downward slope of our squeeze right now. Gold, very often with gold, you'll get a fill and then that exact minute it'll change direction. It's just gold is so complicated to trade at times. We are getting a test, a possible test of the low. So MNQ, it didn't really continue. Right now, I'll turn off my MNQ, and I'm actually done with the MNQ for a little while. I'm going to turn off my MNQ trades. We had a breakout. That was a profitable trade. It hit target 1 and then it reversed. Okay, watching gold. Watching gold, I'd like to be able to get my stop to safety as soon as possible. So I spread my charts a little wider. When I say I want to get my stop to safety, I want to see gold go into profit for a test of the low, and then I'll physically move my stop into safety if I get the opportunity. If I don't get the opportunity and the trade goes against me, it didn't work, and that's fine. Every trade doesn't work. Some do, some don't. Our MNQ worked. I think it is probably going to test that area, but it's made a pretty big move this morning already. I did turn off our magnet. Let's see, our buttons need to be seen. There we go. Still watching gold to see if we can get our stop to safety. It's very choppy. Gold is very choppy. It's not following through yet. But that low of day, it really is a magnet. There is a possibility gold will go there. Now, we've had a big push down. It's not a guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed. We know that. Nothing is guaranteed. We know if we move our stop to safety, it'll probably stop us out because it's so choppy. So it is showing a trend to the downside that's continuing. You could shrink your stop, make it half the size. All right. And here we go. I can get my stop to safety, meaning break even, and it hit our target. It burst, hit our target, and we had a beautiful trade. The MNQ, that magnet worked, right? If we would have turned it on, it's too late to turn it on now, but that's how the magnet works. If you don't have it automatic, if it's not automatic, you can turn it on when you get warned the magnet is coming. That was a pretty tight trade also, pretty small in size and number of ticks.
On the S&P 500.
But that would have worked. All right?
The last 10 minutes.
That would have worked. So. Now I'm going to just turn all my setups off for a minute. Everything. So we made a few dollars on our gold magnet. The gold magnet was beautiful. That was a beautiful trade. It really demonstrated exactly what a magnet is, the concept, and how it works, how it trades. The low of the day is a magnet. There's no denying that it's a magnet. It appears, so let's put it this way, it appears to pull price towards it. I believe, and I believe that the reason it does that is it really does pull price towards it. And it's because there's a lot of orders placed around those price levels. A lot of people put stops right above and below the highs and lows of days, and above and below the VWAP, and above and below the PP indicator. That's why our magnet software, if you notice when it's turned on, if you understand the way that it targets, we are targeting these magnets. That's just a fancy way of saying those magnets are our trade exits. That's all. Magnets, think of a magnet as a trade exit. That's all it is. It's an area on the chart where you're going to exit your trade. And our software controls that trade. That's all. Now, durable goods, if we look at why it was not a phenomenal move, housing starts were positive and building permits were negative. That's called mixed news. Mixed news, meaning one result was good, one result was bad. so we didn't get as good of a follow through as we might have had. You notice our trade candle was good. It hit our first target, but then after a few moments went by and the market could absorb the news, it saw that the news was mixed. Durable goods were good. It was positive. They were up quite a bit more than expected. And it's probably the reason why we got a decent enough move to hit our first target. We had a fairly decent sized bracket, 30 ticks, and we had a 25 tick target,
US
right?
yields
So we
edge higher,
needed
5-year
a
tops
55
4%,
tick
highest
move
since April 7th.
to get filled on our first target. Now, don't let all this make you think this is complicated. It's really not. It's actually very simple. What we're just looking for are news events to move the instrument we're interested in trading. That's it. And we have a variety of different methods that we use to trade an event. That's it. That's all we're doing. I'm going to leave Bank of Canada, the news up, but we don't need it on our charts yet. Let me show you. Now we're early. Normally, no, you know what? We're right on time actually. Normally, we start at 8:45 for the market open, but we had an 8 o'clock room because of the 8:30 event. So that's why we started a little bit early. Let's look at the video and review what just happened. All right, it'll make for easier understanding of what just happened. I'm nonstop recording everything. I have thousands of trade room recordings. Hang on one second. I have to render the video. So today we had durables, we had building permits, and then today's date. Now, of course, it makes me look like a genius that everything worked. But I'm no genius, and everything doesn't always work. But we have a lot of really good setups. That's the truth. Setups that we test, setups that we
Seeing
trade
spot
for
gold
real,
declining nearly 1%.
and we have great software. I mean, I personally believe that we have the best software tool for trading market moving events. And if you're just a discretionary trader, our software, our magnet software, and our reverse continue, scalping, etc., it's so easy to use our software. So let me set up the next video and start the next room, and then we'll go over the previous video and the previous setup. So give me half a second. We have a methodology here. We're a little bit nuts, but welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus, the oil open, the market open. My name is Lee Goldstein, the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. All right, so we're going to review quickly our previous event. So
Welcome
here's
everyone to the
a
Pro Trade
video
Room Plus,
of
building
what we were
permits, housing
streaming
starts
into the room so we can watch what happened. First things first, we set up a breakout on the
This is regards to the
MNQ, which
meeting
is right
that was
here.
held earlier, or the White House officials
And
saying
when
Trump
the news
met
came
energy
out,
company executives Tuesday,
the
discussed domestic
MNQ
production,
breakout
Venezuela oil futures, natural gas, and shipping.
worked perfectly.
You had
It
from
only
CNN
hit
reporters just saying that
one
you had
position,
White House Chief
but
of
that's
Staff
okay.
Miles
We moved
Besson's
our stop
Witkoff,
to protect the
Kushner, had also
profits
attended,
in the
including
first
Chevron CEO
target.
Webb.
So watch. Our software is going to put orders on the chart a couple of seconds before the news event came out. We know through experience that the MNQ or the NQ is a good instrument to trade on this type of news. Durable goods, housing starts. Most reports will get a move from the NQ or the MNQ. Those are our brackets. They were 30 ticks above and below that orange arrow. That orange arrow was current price of the MNQ at 829.58. Very simple stuff that we're doing here. We're putting two contracts long above 2 contracts short. News comes out, market moves. That's what pulls us into the market. Now, there was not a very big burst on that news. The news is out. It shoots down a little bit, but it's kind of choppy. I could have canceled this trade and not had any guilt at all about canceling it. It wasn't a great burst. And I was getting ready to cancel it, and it filled me and hit my first target. So see how it hit the first target and immediately moved the stop to break even? Then when it reversed, it protected my profit. Then we also had on the left chart the gold magnet. So we told you 100 times already what a magnet is. It's an area on the chart that it's a magnet. It pulls price like a magnet pulls a piece of metal. The right type of metal gets pulled into a magnet. That low of day is pulling the price of gold into it. Lots of orders are sitting around that low of day. People might buy gold at the low of day. If it just tags the low of day, a lot of people trade reversals at lows of day. We trade lots of reversals. So it took time though. Notice the news came out. Gold looked like it wanted to continue lower. We had momentum going down. Not anything to speak of in terms of extra volume. Not extra volume really, but we had a nice trend down. We got filled. And then we just waited. Didn't do anything. Waited for the magnet to do its job. You'd figure out what your best stop is. The ideal best stop is above all the structure. If you want to make the market work, you do want to make the market work to stop you out. Let me restart. Hang on a second. My video is acting a little bit crazy. Hold on. Let me fix my video. I'll go back to that gold magnet in 1 second. Half a second here. All right, so notice gold went against us a little bit. You don't panic. Magnets, sometimes you could sit in a magnet trade for a few minutes. But gold does this. A lot of times you'll get filled, it'll change direction. There's no reason to panic. You have a setup, you have your risk, it's already defined. You can change your risk by finding your best places for your stop. You may not want to risk the market structure stop. It might be too big for most people. But certainly, you want to be above your biggest candle right before you entered the trade. So that would certainly be my stop. But I'm watching gold. I'm seeing momentum is still growing to the downside. Volume is good. I'm thinking about shrinking my stop. I'm thinking about reducing my risk. I'm thinking that this is going to work. I'm feeling strongly that we're going to get a magnet that works. And if we just speed up the price a little bit, now I'm thinking I want to get my stop into an area of safety. Here's my entry, this red and black bar. That's where I entered the trade. Moving a stop to safety means move your stop into profit because we're only trading one position. A couple of contracts, but just one position. When I was taught to trade, I was always taught when you have a nice little profit, try not to let it turn into a loser. In particular, when you're trading multiple contracts, if you hit your first target, I almost always will protect that target. But in this case, we're only trading one position, but I am thinking about getting my stop to safety. As I'm getting it to safety, gold bursts down, hits my target, and we have a nice little profit.
It's further
And
from
then
Israeli media. Then they say the trip is
the
situated most
MNQ
likely against
magnet,
backdrop of
it
contacts
wasn't on
between
automatic,
Israel and Lebanon
but it
regarding a
hit the
ceasefire
entry,
and the
the entry
coordination
line.
vis-a-vis Iran.
Had I wanted to, I
Also,
could have pressed the
Israel's
button
Israeli media says Trump has
when it's
already noted
blinking, and it
previously
would have
that a
put me in
meeting
the
is
trade, but
expected
it was a
between
very
Netanyahu
small
and the president of Lebanon in
distance
Washington,
between the
in
magnet
accordance
and
with
the
the protest
order.
and talks that are
It
currently being
already
conducted
tested the
at a lower
magnet.
level.
So you have to make sure
Mind that
you look
Lebanon's
and
president
pay
did say that
attention.
he
This
wouldn't
trade's
have any
already over.
discussions with
It
the
already
Israeli
touched the
PM
magnet.
until
So I'm
the
not going to
ceasefire is properly
press the
upheld. Then.
button and enter because the possibility of a reversal is much greater once it tests the magnet. Doesn't mean it's going to a reverse immediately. Many times a new low will get created over and over. You might get 10 new lows in a row before you reverse. It's possible. In fact, it's interesting this morning. We got the opposite. This morning, we had really good signal possibility. When the momentum changes, we get a signal. And there was a momentum change on gold at 835. It's not the most profitable signal because it happened high up on the candle. But the MNQ magnet, I bet you it's a better signal. And it is. And it's because the MNQ moved a lot more. It was a good signal. Gold, my entry probably would have been somewhere around halfway up this red candle. I probably wouldn't have even entered with a red candle. I don't generally want to take a long signal with candles of the wrong color. So the gold signal was not as good as the MNQ signal, which was also closer to the low. It was closer to the area we just tested. And that signal offered minimum, thinking a worst possible entry, 90 ticks was easily available in that signal. All right, now we have another job to do. I'm done with the MNQ. I'm actually done with gold. I'm going to leave all my setups on the screen now because we can modify them to use them in our next trade. Now we have a crazy situation, not crazy, but we have a situation that's a little bit unusual. We're here early enough to look at oil. Oil opens at 9 o'clock. So we'll change our chart to the oil futures. And remember that spike that we saw? There was a spike. Looks like there was a spike in oil, possibly on that comment. All right. Remember, we saw a spike because there was a comment by Iran that they're going to attack here. We're going to attack everybody if anybody does anything we don't like. Basically, that's what Iran says over and over, and we say over and over, the war's over, we won. All right, we say we won, they're dead, and they say we're going to attack over and over. So it's like, and then anytime someone says something like that, it spikes the market. So that's what we're dealing with. We get these crazy spikes, and that was a spike that if you had your test of the high on to test a high magnet on oil, which again now is up over $3.90, you might have had a nice winning trade on oil if you were testing the magnet, trading a magnet setup. But look, you had to be here before 8:30 trading oil. Now, one thing just very quickly, new market analyzer.
IEA Director Grossi says Iran's uranium stockpile must be addressed.
I just want to look at the current oil contract. And we're right in the middle of the contract. There's 15 days until rollover. I just want to make sure there was no possibility. I didn't remember when rollover was, so that's all. We're on the right contract. So first thing, we have a gold reverse continue on the chart. We're going to modify it for oil. So we have a reverse continue. We don't have to start from scratch. We're going to change to one position, a target of 25 ticks, and a stop of 25 ticks. And you know, you can trade micro oil in the morning also. MCL. MCL is completely okay to trade. I don't like the spikes. They spike differently, in my opinion. Um, but if you want to trade oil with lower risk, it's only $1 a tick on micro oil. So you could trade the breakout with much lower risk. In other words, we have a spike trade on the oil open that, again, it's not a recommended trade. It's a trade we trade sometimes because we're here waiting for the market open. We don't always shut the room and go away because we have 20 minutes until we really start setting things up. Sometimes we'll just hang out, talk, educate, and take a trade, right? Test the trade. So yesterday the oil trade made us a few dollars, the breakout. I've never tested it with micro oil. Why don't we do something interesting this morning? Let's test it with micro oil. So I'll cancel my charts for a second and we'll put the chart on MCL 0626. Notice you couldn't even tell the chart changed. And that's because they do a fairly close representation of each other. The one thing that I've noticed, though, is the spikes are sometimes different. So a spike trade might not be as good with the same bracket. Now, in our middle chart, we always watch the YM starting this time of day. And we always put a YM magnet on. We had an MNQ magnet on that chart. We can modify it. So I'm going to highlight it. High of day, low of day, just one position at the moment for the YM. Our stop's going to be 40. We're going to relabel it, okay? YM magnet. It's not MNQ. It's a YM magnet. And we actually trade the YM in the morning in one of our funded accounts, one of our funded prop accounts. So we'll do what we normally do, and we'll trade it in that account. If we trade it, doesn't mean it's 100% we're taking a trade. Magnets are discretionary. Our target is default, -3 ticks. Our stop is 40. We also have a reverse continue. We'll make that for YM. One position, 35 target, 35 stop. We'll label it YM reverse continue. And we'll put it on that funded account, so everything YM is on the correct account. We'll apply it. I didn't apply my YM magnet to the right account. Let's make sure it's on the right account. And we're going to OK that. And then very quickly, I'm going to get rid of the breakout. We're not trading a breakout trade, so I'm going to highlight it, remove it, and we should be set. So right now we have a YM magnet. We're just watching. And I'm not doing anything with it. And we have a reverse continue. And it's got to be labeled properly. I didn't label it. Now I got to get cracking because we have a breakout to set up and it's almost 9 o'clock. So let's fix that real quick and get over to oil. Apply it and OK it. So first things first. We're on micro oil. Let's set up our breakout. I'll do it manually because I can do it faster manually. The open is 8:59:58. All right, it's a 9 o'clock open. We usually use a 15 bracket, and we test for 8 ticks and 20 ticks. And we use a stop, usually of 20, 25, but I'm going to use a 40 tick stop. because it's only $1 a tick. All right, it's $1 a tick. So it's a 9 o'clock event, 8:59:58. Our orders will go on the chart. If our first target gets hit, target one stop move, I'll automatically move my stop to break even. And we're trading micros. We'll label it MCL breakout, BRK, and we'll keep working on that 29 account. I'm going to quickly update that reverse continue, put it on account number 29 also, label it MCL, reverse continue, and I know I'm doing things quickly. I'll make my target 50, my stop 50 is fine. So we also have a reverse continue. All right. So we have an MCL breakout right here. Make sure our chart's on 29 so we see it. We're up $37 in this account. We'll spread our chart so that we see the orders. And we have an MCL reverse continue. All right, I'll clean everything up after oil opens. I can take an MCL long or short using our instant long or short buttons, but I'm not going to do anything on oil at the moment until the open is done. Right now, the open is a minute and a half away. We have a trade set up right here. It says MCK, but it should be MCL. I'm not going to go in and change anything. It's not necessary. We did have a magnet set up for gold. We can use the same settings on micro gold. If I wanted to trade the oil magnet, I could. I'm going to keep things simple for now. Let's see what happens. So oil,
they say a very big shift is occurring among Republicans on the Iran war as it hits 60-day mark this Friday. A ton of talk in GOP about whether
45 seconds the oil open is going to take place.
Just wrap it up.
Normally,
so they're quoting
I'd want to see a burst in price to get me interested in trading it. I can cancel the trade by just unchecking the check mark.
Trigger that requires Congress to act.
Or when my orders show up, I can cancel the trade by clicking one of the orders, the X.
Tillis being cited by the Simple reporter saying this is going to be weeks or months away from resolution, more likely the latter. So why not? Why not send a very clear sign to Iran and authorize a war for 1 year?
Order submitted.
There's our orders. The market just opened. Submitted. It filled us short. If it doesn't follow through, it'll stop us out. Remember, we're just testing. Just testing. Right now, it hit our first target. I'm going to expand my second target and see if I can trail. I couldn't trail. So what happened? It did the exact same thing that our MNQ trade did. It protected the first target of profit and it reversed. So one thing we learned is you could probably try trading micro oil on the breakouts. Now the breakout is over. I'm turning it off. Price isn't done moving, but the breakout is over. I don't even need that setup anymore. Before I get rid of it,
Netanyahu's office,
I could save it as a template.
All right. We had early headlines that
go to the template,
expected
the breakout.
To the US.
Here's my oil breakout that I used today. Go to the word template. Go to the word save. And now I can type in MCL open. Today's date, 4/29/26. And save it. Now, if I decide to trade oil with MCL on the open 2 weeks from now, and I forgot how I traded it, I just load my template in, and I have a perfect trade. So now I'm going to get rid of the breakout. I don't need it. Why don't I get rid of everything? We're going to start from scratch. So I got rid of all the setups on oil. I'm done trading oil now because we have other things to do. YM, we're going to go in and clean up our YM a little bit. Let's do that first. Let's take 3 minutes. I usually take a 3-minute break here. I heat up my coffee and then I come back. So that's what I'm going to do. You're going to hear me heat up my coffee because I'm going to take my mic with me. I'm not going to turn it off. And I'll be back in 3 minutes. I'll leave everything the way it is. I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to heat my coffee. Be right back. Okay, everyone should be hearing me. That was 3 minutes. Give me a heads up that you're hearing the mic just fine. 1 2 1 2. Everything should be good. So I just want to clarify a couple of things. One of the best parts of being in a great community is having other people in the community posting some of their trades. Nitin loves trading gold at certain hours of the day, and he had a couple of winning gold trades. And he also trades the MNQ, and people do share over and over. People share their setups. As you get more experienced in the way that we trade, and one of the things I'm going to cover in Friday's class, and I want to put the link up for Friday's class. Everybody has it, or you wouldn't be here. But one of the things we're going to cover in Friday's class is how to design and test your own trades. It doesn't take very long, and it doesn't require a lot of tools. It's amazing how simple it is to do it. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to show everybody how to do that Friday at noon. All right? Friday at noon. Here's the link. I'm assuming you all can hear me fine. No one said anything. All right? Yes? Someone say something just so I know. Anybody, just let me know. Okay, thank you. All right, so look, we're watching the YM. The YM, we should look at the YM on a longer time frame chart just to get a feel what's actually happening on the YM on a 30-minute chart. It's a little bit more bearish than bullish, I would say. It had a nice burst up at 6 in the morning that it hasn't gotten through. All right. It then sold off again, made new lows right before we got here. And it's been pushing up from there. All right. It actually made the new lows as we got here. And it's probably a little bit positive now, but I'm certainly not sold that this is a bullish market. Absolutely, it's no guarantee that we're in a bullish market. Right now, we're in a tight range. We're in a range.
China's Commerce Ministry says
We're in
cybersecurity
between
proposal abandons
the
technological
highs and the
neutrality
lows.
and undermines
This
China
market
EU
can go
trade.
anywhere. So we put our magnet
Also,
on.
China's Commerce Ministry says the proposal violates WTO
I've
rules,
got
and
orders.
China will take necessary measures to defend its
I'm going
legitimate
to enter above 400 on the long side. All right. And I'm going to sell above S1 on the downside. And personally, I think there's as much possibility of either side working. So we have a magnet and we also have our reverse continue set up. So if I wanted to take a scalp trade, I could take a scalp, instant long or short. Remember, I set up that reversal trade. I can look at it by clicking strategies, highlighting the reversal trade. We had a one position, 35 tick target, 35 tick stop. That's my scalp if I want to scalp. So I can look at my setups if I don't remember exactly what I had set up. And now on oil, and I'm going to make a note in my journal that MCL looked pretty good to trade in relation to CL. I'm not saying that we're completely sold that the market open on oil is the best time to trade oil. That's not been proven yet, but we are seeing enough profitable trades at the oil open that it might be worth continuing to experiment with it and trying to trade it. We do have a setup. And I do want to say hello to the folks that are saying hello to us on YouTube. AAFX, hello. All right, so we're changing to the MNQ on our left chart. That's one of our main setups in the morning. We're going to add our RTY trade chart on the right. These are the setups we use now. This is a very unusual morning. Right after the open, I'm going to set up a quick Bank of Canada rate trade. That's at 9:45. So we're not going to do our usual let's watch lots of signals after the open. We're going to pivot right to the Bank of Canada rate statement. It's expected they're not going to change their rate. I have the news. Investing.com is the website I'm looking at for the live news. We also use Financial Juice, the pro version, to actually listen to news in our headset. I have a headset on and I'm hearing the news. Let me show you what I mean. So I have a headset on, and with that headset, I'm listening to the news. I can show you a picture. So this is, oh, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't turn on my webcam because it's already on YouTube. Sorry about that. But I have a little tiny headset. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm pointing at it. All right, MNQ. First things first, we put a reverse continue on the chart. I put a magnet and a reverse continue on every chart. Click the news trader, change the breakout to a reverse continue. Couple of contracts. Stop of 75 and a target of 75. That's my MNQ. Remember, MNQ is only 50 cents a tick. It's a very inexpensive instrument to trade, but don't let it fool you. It moves a lot of ticks. So you can still make money with the MNQ, and you could still hurt yourself with the MNQ. Don't ever be complacent. Always take trading seriously. MNQ, we're going to label it reverse continue. Remember, we label everything. You'll see why, especially now. We're going to have a lot of setups. Don't let it confuse you or scare you that this is too complicated. We've been doing this every day for months and months. After you do it for a week or two, it becomes like second memory. It becomes very simple and you don't get nervous and scared by all the setups. Don't worry. We're going to have a lot of setups now. We're not going to use them all at once, but we're going to have 3 market open setups on 3 different charts. First thing I'm doing is setting up an MNQ reverse continue. If I want to trade it, I have the opportunity to trade it. And I'll throw that on a funded account. All right? Because I think our MNQ seems to be back to normal. We had a couple of weeks where it's been struggling, but I'm still trading it with small size. This week, I want to make sure that it's behaving. So our MNQ reverse continue, just a couple of contracts, 75 target, 75 stop. Simple. Labeled. Apply it. Okay. So we have one setup. MNQ reverse continue. Now I'm going to throw a magnet on the MNQ. Click strategy, double click magnet. Magnet we usually use after the news. Probably not going to have time for it today because of the Bank of Canada, but I'll put it on anyway, out of habit. So we'll throw our high of day, low of day magnet on, a couple of contracts. I'm definitely not going to have time to use it. Stop of 100 because I want to test that. I want to trade the Bank of Canada. So our magnet, default target. You notice the only thing I really changed is the stop and the magnet mode. Is it a high of day magnet or are we going to target something else? Then all I'm doing is labeling it MNQ magnet and I'm choosing the account I traded in. So all these settings, all these items and fields, you don't even have to worry about most of them. Most of them are default and you don't have to worry about them at all. Just make sure that all your setups on one chart are in the same account. So all our MNQ is in account 68 and our chart trader needs to be on account 68. So we see the orders. All right. When I turn on the magnet, when you turn on a high of day, low of day magnet, your orders are placed on the chart and you can manipulate them the way you feel is the best place for those orders. Not going to talk about how and why you would manipulate those orders today. We'll do that in the class. And then we have our breakout. Our breakout is an automated trade. Click News Trader, breakout. Remember we saved a template before, so I'm going to load a template in. Load. MNQ new open is the name of my market open setup. MNQ new open, there it is. I'm going to right click it, rename it with today's date so it's totally current. Today is the 29th. Load it. When you load it, it automatically saves that. And we have our setup with 0 as the time. 35 on the bracket. I'm only trading one contract on each position. 30 on the target 1, 100 on target 2. Target 1 stop move is break even. If we hit first target, our stop moves to break even. And our stop loss is 125 ticks. 50 cents a tick, so don't think it's a gigantic stop. It's not. Label it break even, breakout, MNQ open. I don't care what you label it. Just label every trade so when you look at them on the control panel and you want to cancel one, you know which one it is. And we're going to leave it on sim and we're going to put our charts on sim because we're going to just look at our bracket before we trade. We want to make sure we have a manageable space between all our orders. That's all.
Order submitted.
See what I mean? a manageable space. I don't want it scrunched like that. I want a manageable space so I can trade. You can cancel a trade by
Order
clicking
canceled.
the X or by unchecking the enabled box. Now I'm going to right click, click back on strategies, highlight our breakout, put the time correct, 8:29:59. That's our sorry, 9:29. So 9:30 open. 9:29:59, a 35 bracket. Position 1 is 1 contract. Position 2 is 1 contract. Target 1 is 30 ticks. Target 2 is 100 ticks. Our stop is 125, and our target 1 stop move is BE, break even. I'm going to label the trade,
US dollar
breakout
briefings
MNQ
168.
open,
The highest
and I'm
since
going to
April
put it
7th,
on
last up
the
around
same account
0.2%.
as everything else, 68. Apply it, OK it, and put my chart trader on 68. And now I can check on the control panel, enable the trade, turn it on. So now at 9:30, 2 seconds before, 1 second before, our orders are going to go on the chart and we're going to have a breakout for the MNQ. That's our market open. Now, James, we trade every day pretty much similar market opens, Fed day, oil report day, CPI day, jobs report day. There's always a report you could look at that you think might change your setup, but in our experience, it really doesn't seem to make much difference. Some of the other reports might be more muted because it's Fed day. That is possible. There can definitely be an effect that it is Fed day, but usually the open is the open. And now we also have RTY on the right. RTY has been a very good trade. We're going to put a reverse continue on the chart. News trader breakout gets changed to reverse continue. One position, a 35 tick target, and a 35 tick stop. And that's all I need for a reverse continue. We're going to label it RTY reverse continue. All right. And we're going to trade it in our best funded account, number 66. Apply it. OK it. Make sure chart trader is on 66 for the RTY. So that's trade number 1. Then I'm going to put now
According
news.
to White House official, Trump and oil companies discuss steps to continue Iran blockade for months if needed. Again, White House official
Trump
says
is saying
Trump and
they're
oil
going to
companies
continue
discuss
the
steps to
oil
continue Iran
blockade for
months
months if
needed.
needed.
Seeing
So that's why we're
positive
seeing this
on the
market
VIX, a little
movement.
bit, a little
All
bit
right.
down, some movement on the S&P 500.
Remember what I said, every time they make the same
WTI,
comments,
tiny little
we
move
do
to the
get
dip
these
side.
spikes. We do get these spikes. All right. That is a spike coming from the news. I'm not trading at the moment before the news. All right. Especially, we don't trade a spike. If anything, I'm going to reverse a spike. But this is not the right time to trade a news spike. Better to wait, let the market calm down, and trade the open normally. That's how I would approach it. So we set up our reverse continue, and now we have a range. The range trade on RTY is our main trade. Click News Trader. I'm going to load the template because I didn't load it yesterday. RTY range on the open is what I'm looking for. And remember I said one of the great things about being here is being in a community. One of our members designed this trade, and we taught it to everybody, and it's been a fabulous trade. We don't care if a trade was designed by not us. If a trade is good and it's shared in our community, We're not too proud to use it. We have a million setups. We don't have to be all bent out of shape that somebody created a great setup and it wasn't us. We change some things about it. We modify things. We test it. But credit where credit is due. One of our members, Langford, designed the main part of this trade. It really looks like the MNQ wants to test the low, doesn't it? Anyway, this range trade, range start time is 9:25:00. 6 ticks above the range, 6 ticks below the range. Show the range graphics on chart. And we're going to end the range 9:30:00. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1, target 1 is 10 ticks, target 2 is 20 ticks, stop is 35 ticks, target 1 stop move is break even, BE. Definitely the tweet makes this everything more risky at the open. There's no question. Things become more risky when there are comments made. There's more volatility. All right, so one more time the range trade. We put the range on at 9:25:00. 6 ticks above the range, 6 ticks below the range. Show the range graphics on chart is checked. Range ends at 9:30:00. Target 1 is a 10, target 2 is a 20. The stop is 35. Target 1 stop move is BE for break even. Make sure you're labeled RTY range and you're in the right account. 66 is our correct account. And we turn it on. Now, do I want to
Emerging
take an
market currency
MNQ
to sell
trade
losses as
early?
oil price passes
I don't.
$116 a barrel.
I don't.
Again, off the back of the memo we had, the White House official
Because
said
we
Trump's
can't, we
oil
have a
companies
setup.
discussed steps to continue the Iran blockade for months if needed.
Now you can put a magnet on the RTY as well to watch for signals. This morning we're not going to have time because we have Canada, so I'm not even going to put it on this morning. We've got a reverse continue, we've got our range. Once the market is done opening, we're going to pivot right to Canada because there is a 9:45 rate statement for Canada. All right. Good morning there, Donna. So you can check that you've set things up correctly. Notice our RTY range is starting to trade or starting to calculate the range. It's starting to calculate the range. Our YM trades, they are on account number 67. So we have two YM setups, a magnet and a reverse continue, and they should be on 67. Our RTY, we already checked. That's in a funded account, 66. All the RTYs in the control panel should be 66, and they are. And then our NQ should be 68. Everything NQ is 68. All right. NQ is going to test the lower right now, it looks like to me. Do I want to trade early? I'm not dying to. I like to trade the open. It's only 4 minutes away. So I'm going to just trade the open. That's normally the way we do it. I normally do things the same way over and over and over and over. Consistency is a good thing. Doesn't mean you don't want to think outside the box at times. Now, usually with the YM, we will be on automatic this time of day. We usually let the YM trade early, especially if there's a big trend. There isn't a big trend at the moment. Also, what could it be? What could be an interesting YM trade is the PP,
Just a reminder
the
from
VWAP, I
last
mean.
night's news, Wall Street Journal
We could
reported that
target
Trump instructed aides to
the
really
VWAP.
prolonged Iran blockade. Of course,
Voice news disconnected.
Our
not too long ago,
software
about White
has the
House officials
ability
saying
to
Trump and
very
oil companies
quickly
discuss steps to continue the
change
oil
our
blockade for
targeting
months
for the
if needed.
VWAP. However, I don't want to target a long trade right now. I think the market's feeling a little bit negative on this. Who knows when the war is going to end, if ever, news. I think the
Dollar
market does
index
not like
extending
that,
gains against the yen, hitting the highest
right?
since March 30th, last up about 0.3%.
So now we're just patient. There's not anything to do except wait for our setups to trigger. Almost always they will all trigger. YM sometimes won't trigger. You might not get to the low. It might take too long to get to the high. Today we don't have a lot of time, remember, because of that Bank of Canada trade. We could ignore the Bank of Canada trade if we wanted to. It's not a big one. It's not a great one.
Treasury yields extend climb, 10-year hitting the highest since March
But it is a
30th.
rate statement, so it's always fun to trade a trap trade on a rate statement.
1 minute to go now to read the market on open imbalance data.
So there's 40, 50 seconds until the open. And we know and prepare. It is possible to have orders freeze at the open. If that happens, we would immediately load up our R trader if it's not already loaded, and check and make sure you can cancel your orders if you need to.
10 seconds.
Order
Market
submitted.
on open
Orders.
imbalance.
Order
S&P
submitted.
500 buy side 149 million.
Order filled.
All
Nasdaq
right.
100 buy
If you
side
noticed,
2.2 million. Dow
I'll
30
tell you why you don't
side
want to
2.85
think
million.
and outsmart the market. You never want to try and outsmart the market.
Order filled.
All right, our MNQ, I'm trailing. I'm going to
Just hit up the
expand my
Order filled.
target. I couldn't get
in
there.
about
Couldn't
30
expand
seconds.
it quick enough. Our only question here is the YM going to make a new low. Also, turning off my magnet. I'm done on the MNQ. RTY was an instant winner. It hit both our targets to the long side, for heaven's sake. If you're thinking about changing the market, I would have canceled all my longs and not allowed a long trade to trade. Because I couldn't expand my target on the MNQ, I missed a lot of profit. As it was a perfect trade, and we had a nice profit. I think the YM
Order filled.
immediately tested. We had a tiny magnet on the YM, and that's all it gave us. Right now, look how it reversed right off the low, and we had just a little tiny magnet. Now, it may keep going because this market's very negative. Every single trade was a winner. Every one of them was a winner. We didn't have a single loser. All three are funded accounts. It's always nice to build up funded accounts. I'm going to get rid of my RTY range. I'm done with it. I don't need it. In fact, I'm done on the RTY for now. So I'm turning off my RTY setups, and I'm going to shrink that chart out of the way. and we're going to bring in our Canada news. All right, the Canada interest rate statement is coming. I'll leave my YM alone at the moment. Oh, I left too much money on the table for the YM. All right, way too much money left on the table. We have to start trading more contracts in the
Starbucks
morning
rises as much as
on the
5.1%,
YM.
the
So
most
we're just
intraday since
watching the
January
YM.
28th.
MNQs, we're getting rid of all our MNQ because remember what I said. We have a Bank of Canada trade. So right click remove RTY, right click remove MNQ, right click remove magnet. I'll leave my MNQ reverse continue. We're going to change our chart to 6C 0626. All right. Bank of Canada. This is a mediocre to lousy trade. I just want to be clear about that. When we're done with the Bank of Canada, we're going to go back and we'll review everything. All right? We will review everything. So don't feel, like I said before, don't feel overwhelmed that there's too much going on. It's very simple. We had a magnet trade on the YM. It filled us and hit the magnet. It was a very small little magnet. It also reversed super fast. So that was the reason it didn't give very much profit. Our MNQ open absolutely seems to be back to normal. Our normal setup seems fine. So I'll probably go back to normal amount of contracts after the week is up. And then our RTY had a perfect winner. Bank of Canada, we have a DMM. All right. It's a small DMM, meaning it's a small setup. There's always risk when you have a small setup. Let me see where I want to trade it in an account we haven't used yet this morning. If I can, let me see if I can. Bear with me. I don't think I can. I have to trade it in an account that's up like 10 bucks. All right. So we're going to trade in account number 41. It's up a couple of bucks. So we have a trap trade for the Bank of Canada. What's a trap trade? Right click the chart, click strategy. It's a trade we believe is going to reverse if we get filled. But first, remember, we had a reverse continuation from our previous MNQ setup, so we're going to modify it for the Bank of Canada. Now, the Bank of Canada happens to be the same amount
10
of
minutes ago
tick
now to begin the Bank of
value,
Canada interest rate
but
decision.
it doesn't
Forecast
move
for no
nearly
change
as
prior
much
to
as the MNQ,
2.25%.
so we'll make
And
our
we get the Bank
targets
of
much
Canada
smaller.
rate statement as well.
A
And the monthly
30 tick
policy report.
target
And then later on at 10:30, we get
and
the Bank of Canada press
a
conference with
50 tick
Macklem.
stop. That's plenty. Even a 50 tick stop is too big on the Bank of Canada. It's $5 a tick, 30. I think a 25 tick stop is plenty big for a discretionary trade. 2 contracts, a 30 tick target, a 25 tick stop. It's unlikely that we'll take a trade. We're going to trade our trap trade. Sometimes you'll know that you're filled on the wrong side of a trade, in a breakout, for instance, or your trade will end with no fill and you'll want to enter. That's why you might put a reverse continue on every chart. It allows you an opportunity to enter a trade if your main setup didn't fill, get stopped out, or is a quick winner. You might want to take another trade on the same event, on an instrument you just traded. Not complicated. You just want to have the setup ready and waiting. So we have this reverse continue, which is, we could call it a scalp, but we don't want to scare people. It's a safe scalp because we have targets and stops. We don't just throw orders on the chart without targets and stops. So we're trying to maintain intelligent risk management with scalps. So 2 contracts, 30 target, 25 tick stop, label it 6C reverse continue, and we're trading, what account did I say? I'll double check. It was 40 or 41. It was the one that's on $10. It's 41. So we turn on our reverse continue, and now we set up our trap trade for the Bank of Canada. One other thing I like to do is we have an indicator. It's called the net change display. Our charts, when you join with us, we have a template. So all you have to do is right click a brand new chart, click template, and load our Magnet 2.0 template. Takes 1 minute, and your chart is then set up exactly like our chart for news trading. Our template, our software comes with the template. We include it. We tell you where to put it so you can load it onto any chart and set your charts up so they look like ours. We like the way our charts look for this type of trading. All right. So now we have our trap trade. We're going to right click, strategies, load the trap trade. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Remember, Canada is just $5 a tick. I'm going to throw an extra contract on on position 1. If we get a good trade, I'd like to make some money on it. $5 a tick, it's hard to make money if it doesn't move all that much. This trade has a history of not moving that much. Our stop is 25 ticks. Our activation time. When do our orders go on the chart? At 9:44:55. It's a 9:45 announcement. We want our orders on the chart 5 seconds before the news comes out. All right? That's not complicated.
Voice news disconnected.
It's easy. So our setup, we're going to label it Trap 6C. We're going to choose account number 41. Tier 1 is 12 ticks. We're getting that from our DMM, our Daily Market Mover trade setup. This is a report that our members got yesterday that tells them how we're considering trading the Canada rate statement. And 22 on my second tier. My stop is 25. So my setup from the beginning, it's not complicated. We choose the number of contracts and positions we're trading. We activate the orders at 9:44:55 Eastern Time. Our stop is 25. We have a tier of 12 ticks. Our second order bracket is 22 ticks. Our trade is set up. We label it Trap 6C and the account, apply it. There's one important thing, okay, about a trap trade. When you're trading a trap trade and you have more than one setup on the same instrument, turn the trap trade on first with the enable button. That way, at the top of your chart, you'll see the buttons that our software turns on when we enable the trade. You want to see the cancel button. Look at the YM. Wow, did we leave a fortune on the table this
Reminder,
morning.
Hegseth is speaking to House Armed Services Committee about the budget that they've proposed. There'll be the video will be at 10 a.m. Eastern
I'm
time.
just hearing
when
some
that's
news in
supposed
my
to be
headset. Anyway,
happening.
okay, 9:44 is our order. Well, I was saying, click
We do
the
have the
trap
video of him on the
enable
left-hand side of the
first.
economic calendar. Just click on his
Enable
name,
first on
Hegseth
trap so you
testifies in budget, and
see
it'll
the
pop up with
cancel.
the video on a separate page.
That button is cancel outer tier. When you put a trap trade on, 2 orders are placed on the chart. 2 orders above the price, 2 orders below. It's like a double. If the market goes up, we're going to sell instead of buy. We're going to go the opposite way. And we're going to make our money when the market reverses. We've studied this report. We believe this report has a tendency to reverse.
Also, about less than 5 minutes ago now, or 3 minutes ago, to begin
We
the Bank of
also
Canada rate decision.
create
Forecast is for no
what we
change by
call a spike
2.25%.
sheet.
We get the monetary policy report and the rate statement as well.
We
And then
created,
later
we
on
are
today, we
getting
get the Bank of
a
Canada
long
press
signal
conference
on
with
the
Malcolm.
YM in a market that is extremely negative at the moment because of news. So I'd probably just watch the signal and not take it this morning. I'm not comfortable on a YM long at the moment. Not with the news that just came out that the war is going to end forever, last forever, and Hegseth is speaking somewhere. So it's best to just leave it. Leave signals alone at the moment. Now, how do I know Hegseth is talking? Because I'm listening to the news in my headset. If you're going to trade news, you must have the tools that you need to trade it properly. You don't drive a car in your bare feet or in sandals, right? You're not going to drive a tractor trailer without shoes, right? You're going to use the tools that you want to use. Quickly, one other thing we create is a spike sheet for every trade that has a report. Every trade that has a report, plus others, myself and team member Chantal create a spike sheet. And a spike sheet is a report, and I'll teach you how to make one at our class on Friday. It shows how much this news event spiked every month and how much it reversed if it's a trap trade. That's how I know this is not that great a report. The reversals are so-so, and the spikes are pretty small. So let's see what happens.
1 minute ago now to get the rate decision.
All right. Let's see what happens. We're going to get a group of orders on the chart to above the price to below.
According to Fox News, citing sources, oil sector officials expressed their support for Trump's measures regarding Iran to secure global oil supplies. It's being cited by AJ Breaking. So again, being cited by Al Jazeera there.
30 seconds, the orders will show up. It's extremely possible we won't get a fill on this event. It's possible we could get a good move. You never know. That's the fun
10
of
seconds
trading
Bank
this
of
way.
Canada.
I'm waiting for my orders to hit the chart,
Order submitted.
and I'm going to shrink my chart down so I can manage the trade. Now the interest rate is out.
The rate remains
No
unchanged.
change in the rate.
As expected.
There wasn't even
Bank of
one
Canada
tick
says
of
Q1 output
movement
gap
in
estimated in
the
the range of
instrument.
minus 1.5
You can't even
minus
see a
0.5,
movement
unchanged from January.
away from
Forecast
the
assumes US
arrow.
tariff remains
That
unchanged
arrow
and oil prices
is the
gradually
current
decline to
price.
$75 a barrel by mid-2027.
I would not wait.
Annualized Q1 GDP seen at 1.5%.
I would cancel this trade. There's no
in January.
point
Q2 predicted
in
to be
trading this.
1.5%.
There's
Nominal
nothing
neutral
to
interest rate is
reverse.
estimated to be in the range of 2.25
And
to 3.25%.
there's nothing to
unchanged
reverse,
from
and the
January.
Canadian dollar
Potential
is
output
in a
growth
super
in
tight
this year seen at
range.
1.2%.
I don't really want to be in a
1% January,
Canadian dollar
1.3%
trade
in
if there's nothing to reverse.
1% in
So I'm canceling.
January,
Normally we
1%
wait a
in January.
minute. All right.
Most measures of annual
Normally
wage
we
growth
wait
are
a full
between
minute
3 and
on a trap.
3.5%. There may still need to be
I'm giving it the minute.
adjustment to policy rate depending on how risk evolves.
And now I'm
says if the economy
canceling.
evolves broadly
Order
in line
canceled.
How did I
with base
cancel?
case,
By
changes in policy rate
unchecking the
will be small.
checkbox.
If
Now,
higher
what
energy
if the
prices start
Canadian
leading to
dollar?
ongoing generalized inflation,
What
we
if
may
they
need
say
consecutive rises in
Trudeau's
policy
coming
rate.
back?
If the US
And the
imposes
Canadian
significant
dollar
new trade
responds and
restrictions,
just
we
starts
may
selling
need
off
to
like
we
crazy.
may need to cut
I could
policy rates
click
further.
the short button and do a
Uncertainty is
scalp,
elevated,
and that's why we put
and
the
monetary
short
policy may
trade
need to be
on
nimble.
there as well, the reverse continue.
Also,
It gives
Macron
me an
says this
opportunity
because
to
higher
take
global oil
another
prices
trade
increase
if
value
our
of energy exports
breakout or
as they
trap
squeeze
trade
consumers and
didn't
businesses.
fill.
Macron
Many
goes on to say the
times
impact of
we
Middle
will
East
have a
war and overall
situation
Canadian growth is
where we
expected to
don't
be
get a
small.
fill
Monetary
or we
policy will
don't
depend
get a trade.
importantly on USMCA trade
Happens
discussions,
all the
Middle
time.
East war, and the impact of US tariffs and energy prices.
All right. All right. Let's take a deep breath, turning everything off for a minute. We've been going at this since 8 o'clock, folks, nonstop, pretty much. So Canada was pretty much a moot point. If anything, it looks like it just created a new low. Four of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. With a magnet, it'll eventually give a signal when it decides to run out of steam. And eventually there will be a reversal, but we're not going to catch it because the event itself just didn't do much, okay? It just didn't do much. Now, we do have a setup at 9:30 for a gold trade, and we will test it again for next week. We haven't been trading it, but maybe it's better than one of our current trades, and we'll start trading it. Maybe we'll trade it. It's hard to add another setup because we have 3 setups that we're trading. It's pretty hard to trade 4. That's crazy, RD. RD, that's totally crazy. What instrument were you trading? It sounds like gold, full-size gold. Was that full-size gold? All right, so we have a few minutes before the next trade takes place. We do not have an official oil report Wednesday trade anymore. We don't have an official oil trade. However, I did schedule an oil trade room. So let me get my oil news, the inventories. I don't need to make you watch me set the news up. First off, I want to say goodbye on YouTube. So let me turn off our YouTube stream and thank everyone on YouTube for spending the morning with us. Thanks, YouTube. We're going to stop our stream and we'll see you tomorrow. So hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you know the next time we'll be here. Thank you very much.